All right, welcome to another episode of Soto Desperado Plays Skyrim, and we're playing the character Magica, who is coming along pretty good, trying to get restoration up, and we're getting there. So far, got a lot of good aspects going here. We got dual casting restoration, which is going to heal a lot at once. Magica recovery, which is important regardless for a magician. Regeneration, healing spells cure 50% more. And respite, healing also restores stamina. So as you heal your one, you get the other equally. I've done it and it's awesome. Respite is a really good skill. So anyway, that's what's going on there. Let's see, what's this? Wards recharge your magicka when hit with spells. Okay, so if you use a ward, it recharges your magicka. All spells are more effective against undead. That's really good. So anyway, we're trying to get this thing leveled some more. Forgot what I was doing. Take bellows. Why do I have a bellows in here? Must have fell down from somewhere. Anyway, let's go here. I don't know if I did this or not.
Hello, I'm Gisley.
Hi, Gisley. Shut up,
Good
Gisley.
afternoon, sister. Trinkets, odds
Shut
and
up,
ends,
Gisley.
that sort of thing. Come back to bits and pieces anytime.
Alright. So we're getting there. We're getting like training, I think 5 points at a time, which takes a while when you have to take so long to level up. But I'm doing what I can.
Seems there's no end. The finest weapons and armor.
Alright. So
Return anytime you need arms or armor.
I should move out of here and go somewhere else. Let's see. I think I used up all the things here. Maybe I should have restarted this thing. I haven't gone to Morthal. Let me go back over here.
Can't you bother me? Just what you see here.
Okay, so they got their
Come
money
when
back.
you're ready to spend
As you
more
keep bouncing around, you basically go in a circle, and if you do it long enough, they'll start to get their money back. So then you can go ahead and trade again. Alright, let's start another video. I left off last time on this video here with this young man, Sean Desilets. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Let's see. Let's get him up here.
Welcome back to another video journal. My name is Sean. I want to talk about a little bit of a follow-up on my video about 9.
It says quit your 9 to 5 before it's too late. This is a Generation X or whatever, or Generation Z or whatever. So I'm like, I think, I don't know how they think that they're going to make it outside of a job unless they're investors or they have a side hustle or two. But we'll see.
9 to 5s. I want to start with a question for you. If you were to die tomorrow, would you be happy with what you did this last week? Now, it might just be that the answer is yes, and then in that case, I'm happy for you. But if you were in the position I was in, and it felt like no one was talking about it openly, the answer could be no. And I want to talk a little bit about why it's so important to live authentically and to make the most out of your time. I talked about this in my in the video journal where I talk about I'd rather die than work a 9 to 5. I was declared dead when I was 18 years old. I had a really bad car accident, and I woke up in the hospital. And somebody on a call, somebody got on a Zoom meeting with me this week, and they asked me, what is it like to die? Because I died, so. I told them, honestly, the strangest part is when I woke up in the hospital, I couldn't believe I had a car crash. People were telling me I had a car crash. I didn't believe them. Well, part of it is concussion, but so I didn't believe them. But I think the strangest part was that there was no outro, there was no conclusion, there was no like fading out. The way I described it is, it felt like there was a film running, and someone came in with a pair of scissors and just cut it while it was going, and that's it. It's just over. And it really got me thinking. It's almost as if I needed to die to like see this. Where, well, I mean, maybe it's something you're supposed to realize later in life, but to me, it happened really young, where this fear of you can die anytime. And I was like, back then I was in college and I was doing something I absolutely hated. And it's like, wow, what's it worth doing something you don't like just because that's what society expects? It really got me reevaluating everything I knew. It's so weird because being alive is such a gift. If you're alive and watching this now, it's like, it's so freaking amazing that you're alive, that you get to breathe, that you get to live. It's such a gift. It's a gift some people don't have. And why is it that as a society we just kind of accept that it's normal to do something we don't like every day, like it's Groundhog Day every day, and then you just have to keep going. You just have to do it. There's no like, oh, there's other ways, but let's not think about it. Why is it people that defend something but they don't like? Some people, now I'm not gonna say all 9 to 5s are bad, that's not my goal. Some people want to be a vet or a doctor. Good. You shouldn't chase something because of a number or money. You should do what you love. You should be happy. That you should chase something that makes you happy. But why is it that some people, like the situation I was in, where you are not happy, you keep doing that? And I call this video Before It's Too Late. Why? What do I mean? Well, of course, it's a YouTube title, but in a way it's because I want to talk about the consequences of losing your dreams. Because the moment you give up on your dreams, it becomes a whole lot harder to reclaim them. I think it's in the book Cash Flow Quadrant. I don't remember, where he talks about having heroes. Do you remember, when you're a kid, you have a hero in your mind. Let's say you're playing baseball, and then you put yourself, you pretend in your mind that you are that person, that you are the hero. If you like skateboarding, you might think that I'm Tony Hawk, and you really believe it. And then you grow up, and then you stop having heroes, and then it's just so hard to dream big. That when you're older, right? Again, if something were to happen, would you be satisfied with where you are? I guess with this video, I'm not, because I can't, I'm not a billionaire telling you a secret path. I'm in the trenches. I'm here too. Can we just be open about it? Can we just talk about this? I want to be able to talk about it. I think the worst part with 9 to 5s is that as a society, we were able to convince ourselves that the only value we offer is our time and not the value of the work itself. As I talked about in my video, when I built that whole inventory system for the company, I don't work there anymore. They're going to keep using it. They're going to keep using that for years and years to come. I won't see an extra penny from that. I was only paid for the amount of time I put in. And most of the time, that's underpaid, right? But why is it that we accept that it's normal, that we value the things we do, the things we build, we help people build something? Why is it normal that the only value that thing should have is the time we put in? That's not true. That's not true. The thing we build has value. Can we please make it so that the things we do have value? Why? I don't understand that. It makes no sense to me. Absolutely not. Like when you go in a job interview, that's also something I never understood. I've always been surprisingly good at job interviews. I think I'm natural at sales. Something I noticed is when you're in a job interview, you have to pretend that you're only good at one thing. You have to pretend that you're only good at one thing. So let's say I was in IT. I had to pretend I'm really, really good at IT. But you basically dismiss every other skill you have to pretend that you're only good at one thing so that you can put yourself in a little box so that you're easy to employ. Like, oh, you're perfect here. You'll be right there. And you have to sell yourself. You have to convince yourself that you're only good at that one thing. And most of the time, at least for me, I was not the best at that one thing. Because as humans, we are able to do many different things, right? Some people can draw a little, play the music, or whatever. And then, but you're supposed to sell it in a way that for the rest of your life, you're going to be just doing that one thing. And you dismiss every other skill you have. And to me, that was always awful. Because I knew I could, I don't hate companies. I feel like I could help your company grow. I just wish I could do more. I just wish I could use my full potential. But no, you have to pretend that you're only good at that one little thing in that one little box. And so, I throw this to you. Become unemployable in a way that embrace all your skills. Don't let yourself be comfortable in a little box. Why do we do this? I don't understand. You pretending that you're only good at one thing. It's like it destroys the mind. The heroes of the past. Think Leonardo da Vinci. They were like painters and inventors and architects and mathematicians. They would do all these different things. And that used to be what we considered genius. Is being able to do many things. But now, genius is specialization. Oh, you're not a doctor. No, you're a neurosurgeon. Oh, you're not. It's always about knowing more about less. And I think that's not right. For some people it is. Good for you if you're happy with that. But I think it should be the opposite. I think we should not seek to know more about less, but to know more about more. Right? That's just my point of view. And I think it's because we only focus now on the destination as humans. At least here, everybody just thinks about the destination. It's all about that selfish goal of, oh, I'm going to have a Lamborghini, and then I'm going to have the big house, and I'm going to have all these things. It's only the destination. But, surprise, surprise, I don't want to scare you. You might not even make it there. I could have never predicted dying at 18, and I did. I'm really thankful I'm back. I really am. I made it. A month and a half hospitalized. I was in a coma for a week and a half. I'm so thankful to be alive. You never know what can happen. If we only always look at the destination and never the journey, why do we allow ourselves to not be happy to get to somewhere and then be happy when you're older? If you get there. Why is it that it's normal that I say flip the script? We should aim to have a good journey. The destination, I feel like if you're having fun doing what you're doing, no matter where you go, it doesn't matter. But is there a point where you're old and it's like, okay, I've achieved it, I've reached the destination? I don't think so. Because I think every day you just wake up and keep going, right? Is the death? Is that the destination? 'Cause if that is the destination and you're not enjoying it, I say that's shit. I say that's shit. So, because I don't think you reach a point where it's like, now I've achieved the destination, I can relax now. Maybe retirement, if you consider that. But in reality, I think it's always a journey. The whole life is a journey. And if you're not enjoying the journey, it makes no sense to me. So, people say, oh, but it's so risky, I don't want to take risks. What's riskier? Taking a risk now to learn something and then try to achieve something that'll make you happy that you can't regret later in life. Oh, I failed, I lost everything, but I was trying to achieve something that makes me happy. I don't think you can regret that. So what's riskier, doing that or pretending to yourself that you enjoy doing something you don't? And I'm speaking to the people who don't enjoy what they're doing, not the people who do. If there's something you want to do, do it. Go do it. Jump. Take the jump. How could you regret trying to achieve something that makes you happy? This is a question for you. I hope. I wish I was able to speak from like experience and say, I succeeded doing that. I can't. I'm still in the journey. I'm trying to appreciate it, and I'm changing. And it's crazy because we try to justify the time we put into something. My reaction for a long time was, well, I can't quit. I can't quit doing this. I've been doing this for 3 years. It'd be like throwing away those 3 years. They're already thrown away if you're not enjoying them. Already thrown away. So why do you try to justify the time you spend doing something you don't like by keep doing that thing? Please explain this to me. Maybe psychology would teach me, but I only did 2 college courses in psychology. So my statement for this video is live life on your own terms. It's too short to waste doing something you don't love. It's so easy to make excuses and to convince yourself otherwise. Worst case, you just get another job. I don't know. I wrote a few notes here of the things I wanted to talk about in the video, but I just hope that this little story of mine can at least relate to some people. If you're in the same position that I was in, I believe in you. I think we should work as a community and not independent people, like selfish people, always searching just to their own. I don't know. Commutative money over competitive money. That's what I say. And for the people who say, well, you escaped being a slave to become a slave owner. Why? Why don't we change that? Why can't... Then, in that case, then it becomes our duty to become business owners to change the things that we assume are standard. Why not? Why shouldn't we hire people for their whole skill set and not value their time? I say it's now or never. We can change. We can... I don't have all the answers. I'm sorry. But I think we're due for a change. And I say we talk about it. So, thank you for watching this video. I hope you all have a fantastic day. And I'll see you soon. Take care.
Well, leave it to the young to see what the old don't want to see anymore. Leave it to the youth to see what we casually dismiss as doing what we have to do to survive. And not even asking ourselves, will what we do make us happy? When I signed up to serve the Lord, I signed up with the intention of saving all of humanity and not holding back. Then I got a good taste of how it is down here, not only through abuse and neglect and failure on my part, but various other things. And it just is not that easy to save people. It just isn't. It's kind of rough right now. In the past, we want to believe it was easier, but the truth is people themselves are miserable, unhappy, tired of the bullshit. But the thing is, there's no way around that bullshit. Okay? I'm going to subscribe to this kid and give him one more subscriber. He's got more subscribers than I do. Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. It's not very life fulfilling to do something you're not happy with. We just learn to be happy that we have work. We learn to be happy that we have our bills paid. And now that's eroding. So now, in reality, we have to find happiness somewhere else. Because you can't find happiness in what you do anymore. You can only find happiness and joy in something else. And there is nothing else other than a lifetime of applying yourself, and that is called work. It's not called art. It's not called science. It's not called mystical exploration, esoteric exploration. It's called work. So that's why a lot of spiritual people charge for their services, so that they can get the money and do what they like to do. You see? Which is minister or, guide people, if you want to say. But in the end, all that becomes a scam. Even if you're happy doing that, that doesn't mean you're worth a damn at it. I mean, there's some of these people are full of shit. They're just scam artists. So that's why, happiness is a choice. You're going to spend your life in slavery, even if you're a slave to billions of dollars. Even if you have billions of dollars, you're a slave to maintaining that money, and everybody wants to get their hands on your money. Once people find out, the government finds out you have money, anybody finds out you have money, they want your money. And you'll be spending the rest of your life defending your money against the parasites. And naive people that are born into money, they're born in with a silver spoon in their mouth. Well, frankly, they usually don't come anywhere close to the original people who earned that money and built that foundation. So I've seen it in real world where this guy inherited the company from his dad, and his dad, when his dad was in charge, the company would expand, and he got more and more stores. They would sell stuff. They had stores. And instead of expanding out and getting more stores and more stores, which is why he had a little empire when his dad was running it, he started running it. And you know what? Instead of expanding, he did the opposite. He started contracting. And I bet you, if I go and I look them up now, this is when I was a kid. I was in my 20s. So this is about 35 years ago. Maybe more, 37 years ago. So if I go look them up, are they going to still be in existence? And I bet you they're not. I bet you all those people that used to work for that guy lost their jobs because he started closing stores, and that's how they would make their money, through stores. Okay? Anyway, yeah, being happy is a choice, brothers and sisters. You have to have the wherewithal in yourself to make a choice. And that is it. There was one by Michael Bordenero that I wanted to see. He had pointed out another video somewhere. There it is. That's the video. Okay. Alright, so people can no longer afford to maintain their house. This is the video that he recommended after the other video we saw last episode. So we're going to continue the trend. It's 23 minutes.
What to have for a video, huh? Gotta love it. Literally every single day since I've been here in California looks like this. It's funny because Florida is supposed to be the sunshine state, but I feel like they get way more sun here than we get in Florida. We get lots of clouds, lots of rainy days, and haven't had either one of those so far since I've been here. But anyways, you guys are going to need all the sunshine you can get to handle the sobering reality of today's real estate market. You guys know me? Oh yeah, last year I was here. Yeah. Last year I was here.
And with your wife.
Yeah, with my wife here, yeah. You guys watch the channel?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I did.
What's your names?
You came to T-Brown last time.
Yeah. What's your names?
Michelle.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi.
Michelle and
Hound.
Hound. Nice to meet you guys.
See you here again, huh?
Yeah.
Second time you're here.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day, huh?
I know.
I was just saying that. I was starting off the video talking about how beautiful it is here.
Enjoying your time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching the channel. I appreciate it. All right, take care. Bye. How awesome is that? Starting off the video, meeting some friends. So here's the deal, guys. The home prices have been rising faster than people's incomes, which isn't going to come to a big surprise to people who have been trying to buy a house and are kind of getting priced out of the market. But the reason why that's a problem is not just because people can't afford to buy the houses anymore, but people also can't afford to keep them anymore either. Okay, because even if you got the house at a more affordable price, all the other costs have gone up so much that sometimes people just can't afford it anymore. So what happens is this: a lot of people go into buying a home and they don't understand that their monthly payment can change, because they always get told that, hey, you get the 30-year fixed mortgage and your payment's going to remain the same forever, which is actually a huge lie. But there's two problematic expenses right now that have been skyrocketing for people that are causing it to be unaffordable for most, and those are property taxes and insurance. And I know you guys have heard me talk about this before. It's not the first time. However, the problem is even those expenses are also rising at a faster rate than people's incomes, not just the price of the home. So when you're looking at just those two things, if you already own a house, then you can easily be priced out of your own house just because of rising property taxes and insurance. And it's funny because I'm reading this story that's talking about this, which is, way behind the curve, because I've been talking about this stuff for the past 2 years, and now that it's happening to more and more people, finally mainstream media is starting to pick up on this and realizing that this is going to be a big problem for a lot of people moving forward. They say that the average person earns about $225,000 in wealth over a 10-year ownership period, according to a 2022 report from the National Association of Realtors, which could be kind of skewed, especially since it's including the pandemic years there. But anyways, let's say that that's true, guys. That wealth is only on paper. You don't get to extract that $225,000 in wealth or equity until you sell the property. In the meantime, you're responsible for all the expenses that a lot of people can no longer afford. According to some CoreLogic data, homeowners whose properties were reassessed between 2019 and 2023 saw a median tax increase of 25%. So a lot of people haven't seen their wages go up 25% between 2019 and 2023, guys. And those are people that bought pre-pandemic, right? If you bought a house in 2018 or 2019, even really most of 2020 was before we really saw prices go insane. They say that the average median taxes for properties in the U.S. that were reassessed increased more than $600 per year over that period, which might not sound like a lot. And to me, honestly, it doesn't. It sounds like that's on the low end, especially with a lot of the examples I've shown you guys here in the videos. It can go up far more than that. We're talking by thousands, tens of thousands of dollars more than that. Homeowners insurance has also seen a 20% increase between 2021 and 2023, and according to Insurify, they estimate that insurance rates will rise another 6% by the end of 2024. Now, I recently reported to you guys that Citizens Insurance, the biggest insurance company in Florida, the insurer of last resort, is already looking for another 13% rate increase for next year. So, that's far beyond the 6% that they're anticipating here. And obviously Florida is an outlier case because we have basically the worst problems with homeowners insurance in the whole country now. But still, even if you live in a regular area and you're seeing a 6% increase basically for nothing, that starts to hurt your wallet year after year. Right now, the average annual premium for Floridians is $11,000 a year, and that's as of 2023. So you can guarantee that the 2024 numbers are even worse than that. But even if you're able to keep your property taxes and insurance relatively stable, one thing that no homeowner can escape right now is the cost to repair your home. That cost has also skyrocketed in the recent years. When you look at how much building costs and labor costs and material costs have gone up over the past several years, that's something that's up over 30%. So how many people are making the wages to keep up with those repair bills? Now, sure, if you can do it all yourself, if you have the means to make all the repairs necessary to your house on your own, then that's great. But most people don't have that know-how and skill set and need to hire somebody, and that's where you can really get hit. And there's some things that are just better left to the professionals. Like if you need to install a new HVAC system in your house, you probably don't want to try to DIY that unless you have extensive experience doing that sort of thing. But this is what you guys can do. If you are going to be buying a house, you need to see if you can get a history of records on that property of what the costs were over the years. If they have a pool, find out how much the owner is currently paying for pool maintenance. Find out what the current electric bill is. Find out what the current homeowner's insurance bill is. Find out what the water bill is, the gas bill, trash removal, all of that stuff. And to be honest with you, if once you ask the real estate agent for that stuff, they're going to kind of look at you like, huh? Because no one ever asked for it, guys. They show people the houses, they try to get them to fall in love with features of the house, and that's it. They try to get you to buy the house based on that alone. And then in the meantime, you're not asking all the important questions about what really needs to be discussed. And then therefore, you're completely in the dark about what the true cost of ownership is for any given property. Just like the other day, we were talking about how a lot of the problems with condos and building maintenance and building financials are not disclosed up front. Well, this is another thing that should be disclosed up front when you're buying a regular house. You should get a disclosure form from the homeowner showing you all the current expenses and what they are right now, so you can get a realistic picture of what you're going to be paying and understand that some of those expenses are going to increase once the ownership of that home is transferred to you. Because this is something that hits people time and time again that they just have no idea about until it's too late. You know, people get qualified for a $3,000 a month mortgage, and then they want to stretch it to buying a house that costs $3,300 a month, rather than looking at houses that maybe you could buy for $2,500 a month and give you some of that extra wiggle room with your monthly budget, which you're probably going to need. But if you're somebody who already owns a house, you're kind of screwed, guys, because you really don't have a lot of options besides to pay these bills. And if you don't, you're probably going to end up being forced to sell your house at some point down the line, or maybe even end up losing it in foreclosure if you can't pay things like the property taxes. You know, a lot of people say to reach out to your mortgage servicer when you're having problems, you know, affording the house and this and that. That way you can get some reprieve from the mortgage. But all that's going to do, guys, in the end, is it's going to delay the inevitable. That's going to put you in a situation where they're going to pause your payments. Meanwhile, you're still collecting more debt, and you're just going to owe more than you did to begin with. And if they lower your payment somehow through a loan modification, that's also going to be tacking on the amount of debt that you owe. So that's not really a good plan for you either. And I saw another interesting story today about how the high mortgage rates have cost the U.S. economy billions of dollars just over the past year, because the high rates have, number one, discouraged homeowners from moving over the past few years, and at the same time, the high rates discourage new people from buying because the cost to buy is just exorbitant and people can't afford it. So it's estimated that the higher mortgage rates have led to a 1.2% point increase in Americans who didn't move between 2022 and 2023 because of the high rates basically held them back from moving. This equates to about a $296 per household loss over this time frame, and these losses amount to about $20 billion a year. And you got to think that even the people who did move and people who did buy a house, they were also weighed down by higher mortgage rates, meaning that they had to buy a cheaper house. They had to prioritize spending more money on the mortgage and less money on other things that they might normally buy for the house or spend money on. To top it all off, people who moved in 2022 and 2023 paid an extra $21 billion a month in mortgage payments, which adds up to $215 billion extra per year just because of the higher rates, guys. So these high rates are having an effect on the economy in the sense that people have to pay these high interest rates, therefore they're not able to pay for other things. That's pretty much what you're seeing happening with this. Even with the mortgage rates dropping recently down to less than 6.5%, it's at like 6.47% right now, that's not even enough to get people back in, which isn't a surprise, it's just a statement of truth. As of the latest reading from the National Association of Realtors for the June figures, existing home sales dropped by an additional 5.4% year over year. And In 2023, it was actually much worse. It went down by 19.3% year over year. So the home sales have been continuing to drop year over year ever since 2022. Now, the party's been over for a long time. But one problem I see is that you always have people who are desperate and will do anything to buy a house. Those are the people that FOMO'd into the market and who bought. And the people who haven't done that yet are now looking at taking even bigger risks to potentially get into a home, guys, which I don't recommend, but this is these are some things that people are looking at doing. About 17.3% of house hunters who were recently surveyed said they're willing to sacrifice their physical safety to find a home they can afford within the next year. Okay, this is a report according to Redfin. You know, people are taking this way too far, guys. Moving into a bad ghetto neighborhood in order to afford a home is bad news. You never want to do this. This is one of the number one reasons that people regret buying homes, besides they can't afford it and the cost is more than they anticipated. It's moving into an area that they don't like. You don't ever want to do this. Ever, ever, ever. And the worst part is it's mostly young people who are looking at doing this. You know, it's 23.7% of Gen Z, 18.1% of millennials, even 17.5% of Gen Xers are looking at, making this desperate move right now.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app.
Yeah, beautiful. See, all you're going to be able to do is what this guy's doing with the camera. Just look and behold how beautiful it all is. And you have no control of it. None of this natural beauty is yours. You don't own the land. The good thing is you're not responsible for it, but the bad thing is somebody else is. Somebody else has total control over the environment. All you can do is choose to be happy where you are and what you're doing in life. Whether you're doing what gives you
now, I know what you're thinking, especially if you're younger, like, I'm never really home. I don't really have to worry, like I'm always at work. I'm not going to be taking late night walks through the neighborhood or whatever. But it's not just about that. You have to worry about people breaking into your house. You have to worry about squatters. You have to worry about people stealing your car. You have to worry about even more violent crimes happening to you, getting mugged on the street or raped or who knows. Not to mention that the resale value of that house isn't going to be very good, because chances are if you're buying this house out of desperation because it's all you can afford, you're not going to be able to turn around and sell this house for a hefty profit in the future, because no one else is going to want it. People are going to realize this isn't a good neighborhood. Why on earth would I buy this? Now, I'm all for making sacrifices, guys, when it comes to the number of bedrooms, or maybe the school district, or maybe the amount of amenities in the house or nearby, things like that. Those might be necessary things to sacrifice, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, and then you can trade up to something better later on. But please, don't sacrifice your safety over buying a house. It was not going to be worth it. You're much better off being a renter in a nice area that you feel safe in versus being an owner in a place you feel like you have to be on lockdown all the time. And if you have a real estate agent that's trying to convince you that this is the right move and that's what you should be doing moving forward, fire them and hire somebody else, because they're just trying to get paid. They don't care about you or your safety. And this probably has a lot of people thinking, like, are homes ever going to get more affordable? Well, I think so. But it also depends on how you look at it, right? There's two different ways to look at it. Like, are homes going to get cheaper in nominal terms, meaning like, is the actual price going to go down? Or is it going to get cheaper in terms of prices adjusted for inflation, which I think is a guarantee. Nominal values going down is more of a guess. But we have seen many markets already where prices are coming down in nominal terms, which means that adjusted for inflation, the prices are coming down tremendously in those areas where the prices are going negative year over year. So one thing you have to look at, guys, is like, okay, the value of a purchasing power of our dollar has gone down so much over the past 4 or 5 years. I think it's gone down by like 25%. in the past 4 years, which is a lot. So the one way to look at this is you can take any house on the market today and subtract 25% of the current asking price, and that's what the price should have been 4 years ago, just accounting for how much purchasing power the value of the dollar has lost, okay? And then if you're in a market where, say, prices have already come down by 5 or 10%, you can tack that on in addition to that. And then you might even find out that prices are actually cheaper today when adjusted for inflation than they were 4 years ago where you live. It's just that nominally the prices are still higher. That doesn't mean we're not going to see a huge nominal price crash in real estate. It just means that in some areas you're already seeing prices that have come down to lower than where they were pre-pandemic when you adjust for inflation, and that is saying something. The problem is that not everybody has been able to benefit from inflation, right? That only works in your favor if you've been able to take advantage of high inflation in terms of seeing other assets appreciate, seeing your portfolio in the stock market appreciate. You know, if you've been holding on to gold and silver, you've definitely seen that appreciate during this time frame. But if you had nothing, then that's why people still look at the housing market as still being a bad deal. But I think if you run the numbers on a lot of properties, you might be interested to find out that they really haven't seen all that much appreciation when adjusted for inflation. But I think another thing that could actually push prices in nominal terms to come down sooner than later is actually the interest rates coming down, guys, because one thing that you might see happen is as the interest rates finally start to come down for mortgages, you're probably going to see a lot more sellers list their homes for sale on the market because they have been literally locked in these homes with low rates, right? They were not able to move, and they're waiting for rates to come down to a specific point where they feel like it's worth it now to move. But you're going to have a lot of people, a lot of pent-up people, a lot of pent-up demand on the selling side who wanted to move over the past few years but couldn't, put their homes for sale on the market, but yet there probably isn't going to be a whole lot of buyers there. And that's because even when rates come down, say they come down to 5%, a lot of people are still not going to be able to afford houses at those prices. And when you combine this new way of real estate agents earning commission into the mix as well, if a lot of buyers start having to foot the bill for their own real estate agent's commission, that is yet another ding on the price for houses. If inventory continues to rise like it has been and you don't see the buyer demand there, plus buyers are now on the hook for their own commissions, that's basically a guarantee that prices in nominal terms are going to have to come down because it's going to be the only way that buyers will be able to buy those homes. Even Lawrence Yun over at the National Association of Realtors is finally admitting this, that inventory is going up faster than buyers are pulling these homes off the market, and eventually that's going to give buyers more leverage in a lot of markets that already has, guys. Like, just look at what's happening in Florida right now, in Texas. There's a huge surge in inventory in a lot of these areas there. And inventory is so high, in some cases even above pre-pandemic levels, that gives you tremendous leverage as a buyer. The problem is a lot of sellers still haven't caught up mentally with the fact that, you know, their home is now a dime a dozen and there's so many other homes for sale, and they're going to have to start getting used to receiving low ball offers. Because when I can buy 20 other houses that look just like yours for the same or less price, you know, you're going to offer a lower price as the buyer and try to land the one that you can get the best deal on. Even Lawrence Yun admitted that, hey, we're seeing a slow shift from a seller's market to a buyer's market. Homes are sitting on the market longer and sellers are receiving fewer offers. More buyers are insisting on home inspections and appraisals. Oh, should have been doing that all along. And inventory is definitely rising on a national basis. Once again, this is going to be different for everybody depending on where you live. Not saying everybody has a surge in inventory right now across the United States, but on a national level, that is what we're seeing. I really think the interest rates coming down is going to be the catalyst for prices coming down. And typically, it's the opposite, guys, but everything has been the opposite. You know, the rates going up was supposed to be the catalyst to bring prices down, but all it did was restrict inventory even further. So since we know that that's something that happened recently, once the rates start coming down, it's reasonable to think that that will start unlocking a lot of the inventory. But the question is, will the buyers be there to absorb it? I don't think they will be in droves, like so many people are expecting. You know, all the experts think that as soon as they lower mortgage rates, then all the buyers are going to come rushing back into the market. But the reality is, even once rates come down, there's going to be a high percentage of buyers that still won't be able to afford homes. But that doesn't stop governments from giving out as much free money and as many advantages to people as possible to get into home ownership, like all the subsidies that are out there. In fact, something I've talked about here before on the channel is the Florida Hometown Heroes program, which basically was started off as an idea to just give hometown heroes extra free money to buy homes. Those are people like nurses, first responders, and police and firemen. It's supposed to be just them. But literally right after this program became live, they opened up this program to everybody. You just had to be a Florida resident. So it went from just giving first responders, hometown heroes, free money to everyone free money. And they have given away a ton of free money, guys. In fact, just in its most recent funding cycle, the Hometown Heroes program shelled out $61.3 million in free money, and that equated to 3,745 families taking advantage of this and buying homes just in the latest lending cycle. Okay, this is not the total amount of money they've given away or the total amount of people they've helped. This is just a fraction of it. And basically what they do is they give you up to 5% of your first mortgage amount maximum of $35,000. But still, guys, that is huge. To get a free $35,000 just to be able to buy a house, that is insane. They give it to you in the form of a 0% non-amortizing 30-year second mortgage. So it is something that needs to be paid back. It's not like you get to keep that. But the fact of the matter is, it helps people get into homes that otherwise wouldn't be able to afford to get into one. And even with all of that free help, it still hasn't been enough to slow down the amount of inventory piling on the market in Florida because of all the reasons we talked about earlier in this video. The simple fact is, many people who bought over the past 5 years cannot afford the property taxes anymore. They definitely can't afford the insurance, and they also can't afford the maintenance. But somehow the state thinks it's a good idea to help people buy homes that literally don't even have all the money to get into it. That's the same mistakes that the federal government makes. That's why you see the delinquency rates on FHA borrowers skyrocket right now to almost the highest level we've ever seen, short of the 2008 great financial crisis. And everybody wonders why that's happening. It's happening because when you give people money that don't have money to buy a house, they're not going to be able to afford to keep the house. Maybe they could have 20 years ago when prices were more stable on things and we didn't see this crazy amount of inflation, but we all know that those days are over. It's not equivalent today to give somebody money to get into a house that can't afford it as it was 20 years ago. Those people very well may have been able to get into those houses and afford to keep those houses all those years because the cost of ownership didn't increase all that much up until recently. So the landscape has changed. In 2024, you can't expect people who get free help to buy houses with 0% down or 1% down or even 3% down like FHA. You can't expect people like that to be able to afford the house long term because literally all these expenses are rising faster than their incomes, and there's going to come to a point where those expenses are going to get so large that they're just going to have to let go and they're going to have to sell. And Florida is already the preview and the poster child of this. You're seeing it happen now first in Florida, but you're going to see it happen in a lot of other states around the country as the cost of maintaining those homes goes beyond people's budgets as well. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you don't want to wait for my next video to come out, check out this one on the screen right over here, and I will see you in the next one.
Trying to make a good sword for Lydia. Not that I see her anymore ever. I don't know what happened to her. Maybe she's at home. Anyway, yeah, this shit's going down. Damn, motherfucker. Anyway, yeah, it has good points. There's not much else you can do except try to hang in there. Yeah, all this spending of trillions of dollars we don't have to spend, getting us in debt shamelessly. Everybody giving us bullshit, and everybody knowing it but not doing anything about it. Here's a new guy here. We can try him. There we go. 12 minutes. Men aren't showing up to singles events. 90% of the attendees are women. Wow. Holy shit. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. Let me see what the timer says. Oh, man. I shouldn't laugh because I wanted to be a daddy, but, you know, it's just hard to find anybody. And if you do find somebody, they're going to view you in terms of how much money you make and how successful you are. If you're not successful, a woman's not going to want you. She wants somebody who's going to provide for her and do what she tells them to do. And that's it. A lot of men, they're just tired of that shit. But anyway, this guy's name is Chris Jobson. Never heard of him. Men aren't showing up to singles events. Let's see what the gentleman has to say.
What up, though, y'all? It's Chris. Appreciate you connecting with me. I want to jump into something with y'all right quick. This actually is kind of an addendum for a video I shared yesterday. It was about, men no longer approaching women and women not being happy about it. And lo and behold, I ended up getting a few comments on that video from seemingly the very type of woman that I was talking about, is experiencing men not approaching them and not being very happy about it. I mean no harm. I'm not trying to ruffle no feathers. I wasn't attacking nobody. I'm just stating what I believe the problem is. She said something about men have backed themselves into a corner or something of that nature. It's not really seeming like that. It's seeming like it's women who have backed themselves into a corner that they need to figure out a way to, move on from, because it is what it is now. You got men choosing not to approach women in social situations. So how does that sound like it's the men at the disadvantage and need to work themselves out of the corner? That sounds like a problem for the women, not the problem for the men. If you're getting all cute to go out and get attention, and you're not getting it, it's you that has the problem right now. But what I wanted to add as kind of like an addendum to that was I came across more info that I wasn't privy to when I made that video. I kind of wish that I was. So apparently there's these like meetups that people do, like for dates, singles. They have these meetups, men and women meet up there. It's looking like these paid events. People pay to go to these paid events. Men are not showing up to. Apparently it's like 90% women that show up to these events. Dudes is just not going. And this was pretty funny to me because it's just not stuff that I knew about. I'm not out there dating. That same woman who commented, and I hope she comes back to this video and provides a little bit of context for some of the stuff that I'm saying here. It gives me her views and opinions. She was like, I should have been married for 10 years by now and all that sort of stuff. I mean, love, how do you know that I'm not? I in no way, shape, or form am implying that these are my struggles. I'm not out there on the dating market. I'm good. But I don't only talk about things on this channel that affect me personally. Some things that I talk about, they're just, just kind of social things or current things that are happening. Like earlier when I was talking about the stock crash. But women are going to these events expecting to meet some guy, and apparently there's no guys to meet. And if there are guys that come, it's like 90-10. Only 10% of the people that show up are men. And I don't know what's up with that. Maybe I could throw out a few ideas of what's going on with that, but I'm not really sure because this is all new news to me. But if I had to like take a shot in the dark guess at what's going on here, why guys aren't showing up to those, it would be the fact that women tend to like prefer aesthetically some of the same type of guys. You know, they tend to want a guy that's tall. They tend to want a guy that's in shape. They tend to want a guy, you know, with a 6-inch package. You know, all of the sixes, 6-figure salary, 6 feet in height, you know, 6-pack, 6 inches, all those sorts of things. So, I mean, if you look around, most of the average guys, they just do not fit into that. It just is what it is, unfortunately, ladies. Most of the guys out here, they don't fit into your very strict standards. So if you're that, you know, 5'7", 5'8" guy, a little bit on the pudgy side, why would you even pay to go to that? Because, you know, none of the women are going to be checking for you. I mean, this is a scenario where the women should be a bit more flexible and lower their standards just a little bit, maybe not be so rigid and lower their standards just a little bit. But oftentimes, from what I'm gathering feedback-wise, the women go to these events with as strict of standards as ever. So it's like I said, beggars can't be choosers. You're going to an event that's basically situation critical for you. You know, if you are paying to go to an event to meet dudes, sis, it's situation critical for you. It's time to relax them standards. Maybe, just maybe, you not as fine as you thought you were. Because if you are paying to meet dudes ain't just walking up to you or whatever. You know, I mean, I'm sure that's a bit of a humbling reality check for you. So you go to these events, you pay to get in, and then you find that it's a bunch of other women there, and you're all competing for the same handful of guys that just managed to show up. You know, but many of the guys are going to be discouraged from going because, as I said, we understand that women like certain things in men, and you know, it's a lot of women that's like, oh, I'm not going to settle, I'll never settle or whatever. So, and we hear that, we listen to what y'all say. So in all actuality, men are just reacting to the stuff that y'all say. You say, we don't listen to y'all at all, but here's a situation where we are and you don't seem to like it very much. We hear you saying you don't want to go to Applebee's. We hearing you saying you not going to date a short king. We hearing you saying you not going to date a dude that's making $50K a year and you're never going to settle. And what you're doing is you're eliminating the majority of potential options for you because you have your eyes set on a very small, you know, group of men. So you have that small group of men. That small group of men is not going to be at those events because they have options. And the majority of men who would, like, they would entertain the idea of possibly going. They probably still wouldn't show up, but even entertain the idea, maybe I'll go, depending on how I feel or whatever. Y'all completely have discouraged them from even wanting to try because your standards are just too high for the average guy. We got a lot of women, beautiful as you may be, you're average ultimately. And we have average women that think they are above the average man. And that's a serious problem when people think that they're settling for the very people that they qualify for, you know. And I don't say that at all to be mean or disrespectful in any way. What I'm saying here is just 100% feeding you information. Information doesn't have feelings and emotions. Information doesn't have ill intent. So nothing that I'm saying here is meant to attack anybody or be insulting in any way. I'm just giving it to you pure and unfiltered, the way somebody in your life probably should have, but has avoided doing so because they just don't want to deal with you. They know if they tell you certain things, you're going to get an attitude, be ready to fight and whatnot. And sometimes it takes for an outside person to kind of tell you these things for them to really resonate. The people in your life who are close enough to you and should be able to, you know, give you a bit of a reality check on these sort of things. You've you fought them on previous things when they tried to check you, to the point to where they just don't want the struggle. They would just rather let you just go out there, crash and burn, and just not even get involved. But that's my theory on what's going on here, why you have a dynamic of women paying to these, paying to attend these events, and you got guys not showing up. Men understand that even when the women, are average and in many cases below average, they still have these sky high standards of believing that they deserve some top 10% man. They want the man to be everything they're not ultimately. They want the guy to be fit when they're overweight. They want the guy to be making six figures when, they cashing out EBT. They want the man to be, God-fearing and high morals, and also. And I'm not saying that these things are. I'm not saying these things are a bad thing. I'm just saying that when year after year after year after year is passing you by and you still aren't landing somebody, or if you are dating and you find that nothing is lasting, nothing is working, who or what is the common denominator in all of your relationships? If you have been out here dating for the last 20 years and you haven't found yourself in, at the very least, a serious long-term relationship, let alone married, I think marriage should be the goal. But if you've been out here dating, if you're a 40-year-old woman, hypothetically, and you've been dating since you 18, that's 22 years. And you've had failed relationship after failed relationship, at some point you have to accept that the problem isn't everybody else, the problem is you, because you're the common denominator in all those relationships. So at some point you got to stop being like, oh, this guy did this guy did that, and be like, well, what did I do? Why didn't this man want to keep me? What was it that I did to chase him away? Especially if you, one of those 40-year-old ladies that have found yourself at one of these dating events, like, man, you down bad. If you at one of these things, you are down bad. Like, ladies, I didn't know it was out here as rough for y'all as it is, because how could I know? But I'm not trying to laugh at your pain. I'm laughing because it's shocking how this has shifted the way that it is. Because when I was out here on the market, women still had the upper hand. We were chasing, we were pursuing, we trying to get at y'all. You looking good and we want to talk to you. So hearing that men have essentially just given up on that, I'm laughing because that's pretty shocking. It's a world I never thought that I would see. So ladies, I'm not telling you to relax your standards. I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm just going to say that if what you are doing has not worked for you up to this point, maybe try something different. Maybe that guy that, has been in your inbox and bugging you to take you out or whatever, who you just ignore because, he's lame or whatever. I don't know. Let him take you to see a movie. Shit. Is it going to kill you to let the guy take you to dinner and a movie? I mean, you might like him. Deadpool 3 is out. Go see that. All right. That's all I'm going to say on this subject for now. If I learn something else about this, then I'll make another video about it. This is a bit of a fun topic for me, as y'all could probably tell. So I appreciate y'all for connecting with me. If you like this video, please give it that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. And I mean, shoot. I'm going to check in with y'all soon. Maybe again today, maybe tomorrow. But I'm going to check in with y'all soon. And I appreciate y'all. Later.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't even have any thoughts on that. I'm just going to say it sounds like he's speaking from just observation, which is fine. And it's kind of sad that it's come to that sort of thing. Okay. So let's see. Let's get into some light over here. Just want to see if I did a good job here. Okay, so that's like what I'll wear if I'm trying to enhance something. Let me see what the base armor, prime armor, glove. So it looks like, yeah. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. That's the Nightingale armor. It looks like the Nightingale armor has the highest armor rating. So now that I'm wearing it, let me take a look at it. See, boots is 132, armor's 281. See, I'm not so vulnerable anymore. I don't have to use a shield. Even though I upgraded the shield, you know. I need to do a cape and some rings. And another necklace, yeah. Cool. So anyway, we're at about an hour and 5 minutes. Let's go back to the gentleman. Give him a thumbs up. In other words, what he's suggesting is that the requirements for the women are requiring men to be certain things that they can't measure up to. And they're in a situation where they think they're in a buffet and they can get the meat all the time, or they can get the best of the best all the time. And sometimes it doesn't work that way. Hey, boy, you okay? It's my boy. How you doing, brother? How you doing? I got my brother here. He's my brother. My brother. Let me go ahead and wipe his eye. Here you go. Here we go, brother. Let's do a wipe. Okay. Do a wipe. You do a wipe. You had a lot of stuff there. Okay. Well, you're doing okay now. All right, brother. Another day I got to feed you. Okay? Got to feed you and the rest of the fuzzies. The fuzzies are everywhere. The fuzzies outnumber us, unfortunately. But that's a good thing. Okay. So anyway. Yeah, I mean, we can't measure up. I don't have a 10-inch penis or a 12-inch penis, and I don't have one that's thicker than a fire hydrant hose, or, I don't have all the money in the world. I don't have a good ride. Matter of fact, the brakes on my car went, and I think I need a new brake switch, the one that's next to the pedal. And it definitely, that little stopper there broke, so I'm going to replace that first. I have to take the seat out because I'm such a big guy, and that's a small car, and I can't fit under there easy. So I literally have to take the driver's seat out, or at least put it back out of the way before I go in there and try to do anything with it, because it's just in the way. But once I get in there, I'm going to have to hope that nobody pulls in or any of that shit. That's what I'd hate to get screwed like that. But I have to fix my own vehicle. I have a 2008. I can't measure up to those kinds of standards. I earned a bachelor's degree, and people kept blowing me off, and I didn't do what was required of a professional, which is to lie on the fucking resume. If I had lied on the resume, I would have had enough money to make a life. I almost had a life. But the Lord did confess that something was following me around, making sure that I failed. So there were spiritual elements outside my control. On top of that, it's like somebody cursing me forever. So since these beings did this, it's too late. See, now that they acknowledge that they did this, they don't do anything to rectify it. So that means their pride of the destruction of my life and all the negative aspects is still in effect. They're still prideful beings. And you know what happens with pride? Pride comes before a fall. Those things are destined to go down. It's too bad. I could have had beautiful children, a beautiful wife, wonderful experiences, and it's all because I didn't have money. all because I didn't have any wealth. I can be happy by myself with my cats. That's a choice. But I'm only choosing that because that's the only thing I can do. Yeah. But anyway, we're at an hour and 9 minutes, I think. I can barely see that. I think we're at an hour and 9 minutes. So I'm going to stop the video here and we'll make another one. Thank you for watching.